Good afternoon, everyone who's gathered here for this most auspicious, wonderful occasion that has been brought to us today by our esteemed Governor, Andrew Cuomo. Let's give him another. Before we begin, I need to recognize some of the distinguished and special guests we have here with us today. Although I'm going to acknowledge guests, and if there's anyone I omit, it's not because of my heart, but my head. So if I omit anyone, please forgive me. We're delighted to have you, Mr. Governor, especially today as we're confronted with the serious issues as they emanate from Washington, D.C., and we thank you for being on the forefront to protect us here in New York State. Thank you. Your presence here is a concrete indication that the governor is an ally of Long Island and a friend of the Hempstead village and interested in the future of the children of the Hempstead School District. We thank you. There are so many things that our governor has done to protect we the people. And we who live in Long Island, especially here in the hub, which is Hempstead Village, we understand how important the Long Island Railroad is to us, not only as it relates to our going back and forth to the city, as we call it the city, but also as it relates to the fact that if you take the Long Island Railroad from the Hempstead train station, you can get off at the Jamaica station, get on the tram to JFK Airport, and go to anywhere in the world. And he is protecting us with this Long Island Railroad. Thank you, Mr. Governor. I'm going to now, and it is my pleasure, to introduce some of our future leaders, those persons and that generation that one day will be serving the people of this community, the community of the town, the county, the state of New York, and maybe one day in the United States Congress or the Supreme Court. No horizon can be left unaffected if we continue what the governor has put in place for the future of these children. Now, I want to make sure that I don't omit someone, so I'm going to use my notes. We are joined by my colleague, Senator Carl Marcellino. Senator, let everybody see you. My colleague in the State Assembly, Charles Levine. Chuck? Assemblyman Tony Durso. The Hempstead High School senior class president. And we don't know whether or not she's going to have another president behind her name in a few years. But her name is Pusika Gaira. Did I pronounce it correctly? Almost. Tell me how. Pusika? Pasika. Guerra. Pasika. Sheila Bino, legislator of Nassau County. Over 100 years, never happened before. A woman is now received the mandate to serve as the supervisor of the town of Hempstead, Laura Gillen. The mayor of the village of Hempstead, Don Ryan. The deputy mayor of the village of Hempstead, Perry Pettis. the superintendent of the Hempstead School District, Shimon Warnaker. I don't like to pronounce names correctly. The principal of this school, Alberta Gray Schultz. The middle school, Adrian Manuel. And the Hempstead School Board. Would you please stand? The board members of the Hempstead School District. And Mr. Governor, I have some people, some persons who joined me today that I will, if you don't mind if I would acknowledge. There's a 6-year-old little boy here today. Come here, sweetheart. Stand up here. Oh, no, stand so they can see you. Stand right there, stand in the front. Mr. Governor, he didn't sleep last night. He said, is he real? A real governor? And his grandmother is here with us, and she said yes. So she went to his school, where he is in kindergarten, and asked the teacher if they would allow him to meet the real governor of New York State. And this is Parker Leary. He's 6. Parker. That's our future. We have with us also Judge Lance Clark, Paulette Williams, who works with me in the district office, Scotty Coates, Andre Huff, Teresa Dreyer, Gail Carlisle, and the Honorable Mayor Andrew Hardwick. It is my distinct pleasure. Why did I do that? I forgot to acknowledge my colleague in the assembly. It wasn't my heart.
My wife forgets all the time.
But I won't forget you, and thank you, Chuck, for reminding me. This is my colleague in the State Assembly, the Honorable David McDonough. David! I think Parker Court sort of got to me. Okay. It is a distinct pleasure and an honor to have the privilege to introduce, to present to you, really, the person who signed your budget. Oh, stand up. Would you please stand up? Councilwoman Gooseby. Councilwoman, please accept my apology. I saw you, I saw the list, but I said, I'm excited, and I want you to accept my apology. This is the senior councilwoman of the town of Hempstead. I did her. Did I introduce you? I'm going to introduce you now, yes. I'm now going to introduce to you who will present the next event, the president of the Hempstead High School class of 2018, and I'm going to pronounce your name correctly, because I don't like when people don't pronounce my name correctly. And they did it in phonetics. Pu, pa, si, ka, pasika, gera. Please come join us here. Thank you. Thank you, and let's thank the governor for bringing us together here today. Thank you. Come on, Parker. Thank you, Pasika. You're very welcome. About to step you.
Good afternoon. As mentioned earlier, my name is Pasika Guerra, and I am the class president at Hempstead High School, and I'm also a graduate of ABGS Middle School. Today, Hempstead is excited to welcome Governor Andrew Cuomo. Access to an after-school program helped to change my life. It provided me with the support I needed and helped me improve my grades, especially in math. I believe it was an amazing opportunity for me and for everyone at the school. In fact, I went to Albany to advocate for additional funding for after-school programs. So today, I am especially excited to introduce the 56th Governor of New York, Governor Andrew Cuomo.
Thank you, darling. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. What a pleasure to be here. It's a good news day. I'm from Queens, New York. It was also the city to us when you were going to Manhattan, not just to Hempstead. Queens was an outer borough. Brooklyn is an outer borough. Bronx is an outer borough. Staten Island is an outer borough. There is no inner borough. You just came from an outer borough. But the inner borough was always Manhattan, and we knew that, even though they didn't say it. It's a pleasure to be in Hempstead. It's a pleasure to be with all of you. Let's give a big round of applause to the Deputy Speaker, who does a great job, Deputy Speaker Hooper. You heard all my colleagues introduced. You're going to hear from Senator Carl Marcellino in a moment, but another round of applause to Assemblyman McDonough, Levine, and Durso. Let's give them a big round of applause. And to Pasika Gera. What a beautiful job you did, Madam President. You know, we do a lot of good work in Albany. State government's been busy. Deputy Speaker's exactly right. It's a tough time out there on every level. It's economically tough. It's governmentally tough. A lot of challenges. But we're addressing them. We're doing a lot with the economy. We're doing a lot fighting crime, a lot with roads and bridges. Long Island Railroad was a big, big win. Finally, modernizing that Long Island Railroad after 70 years of trying. We're going to get the Long Island Railroad modernized. So we're doing a lot of good work, but probably one of the most important functions that we perform is education. Every politician will say that in the speech, but it is everything. It's education. Because at the end of the day, it's about what we did for our kids, right? That's what the final accounting is. I'm sure when you get to the pearly gates, the good Lord is going to say, well, did you leave the world better for your children? And if you did that, you're a success. And if you didn't do it, well, then you go to alternative B, which is not a good place to go. So we focus on education all the time. And I'm proud to say, first, as a state, we invest more money per pupil than any other state in the United States of America. And I'm proud of that. But we're also changing education because you want to keep up with the times and you want to improve it and you want to keep up with your competitors. This is the game. And an education model from the 1940s and the 1950s is not going to win in the year 2017. So we're investing in our teachers, because the main determiner of whether a student learns is how good the teacher teaches. We have a master teacher program now where teachers can get continuing development, where they get additional rewards, because they are the linchpin of the education system. And let's give them all a round of applause. We're putting into the schools what we call wraparound services, because it's more challenging now than just putting a student in a desk and teaching them mathematics. You have to make sure you address all the needs of that student. whether they're physical needs, nutritional needs, psychological needs. You want to make sure that child is in a position to actually learn. And we're turning our schools into what I call community schools that have comprehensive services, holistic services. So in one place, whatever that child needs, you can get them. And then the third part, which is what we're talking about today, are after-school programs. You know, the education system we have, where a child goes to school until 3 o'clock and had summers off. Do you know where that came from? That came from when we first started the education system. Many of the people in this country were working on farms. And you needed the children home in the summer to work on the farm. So summers were off. 3 o'clock, so the child could still get home and do chores. That's where 3 o'clock came from. That is a dated model. Now, I'm not proposing you do away with summer vacation, because I know. But I'll tell you this, there are countries that are around this globe where they have 12-month-a-year education. They have school that starts in the morning and goes to 7 o'clock at night. Now, you can say, poor kids. Yeah, but they're going to be your competitors. When you are looking for jobs, it's going to be an international marketplace, and those are the kids you're going to compete with. Those are the kids you're going to compete with to get into college, because it's all going to be an international competition. So we want to make sure that you are getting all the skills, all the services that every other child has. So this year, thanks to my colleagues in the legislature, the state put aside $35 million to do after-school programs after 3 o'clock. Why? Because, first of all, it gives your parents a break or the caregivers a break. They don't have to be there at 3 o'clock to make sure you get home. Second, we want to make sure that time is used wisely, that you're not hanging around after 3 o'clock in places you shouldn't be hanging around, that you're not going home and just wasting time at home, that you're not playing video games after 3 o'clock when you get home. My father used to say, we lost him a couple of years ago, but my father was a big guy with a very deep voice, spoke like this, a little scary, especially when you were young. And my father used to say, video games will melt your brain. That was enough for me. I never went near a video game. Now, I have a younger brother who didn't listen. Every family has one, you know? And I have a younger brother, he didn't listen, and he was like addicted to video games. And I would go up to him and I said, you remember what Dad said? It's going to melt your brain. And then I'd feel his head a little bit. And I'd say, your head is getting soft. Your brain is melting as we speak. I think it happened. If you look at my brother, don't tell him I said this. If you look at him closely, the left side of his head is actually flat, because I think his brain melted from all those video games. So we don't want that to happen to you. First of all, you can't wear a hat when your head is melted. And second, we want to make sure you're using that time the best you can. You should be doing advanced learning. If you have issues, personal issues that you need to work through, we should be able to do that after 3 o'clock. You want to get in shape, because getting ready is mind and body, physical exercise, fitness programs. That's what we want to be doing after 3 o'clock. We understand it, we acknowledge it, we recognize the question was always money. And that's why the $35 million was so important. Then we went to school districts all across the state, and said, we want to use the money well, so you tell us what you would do with the funding if we gave it to you. And we picked the best programs. And guess what? Hempstead School District won 877 new slots for after-school children. And the Uniondale School District won 885 slots for after-school children. So that is really great news, and it's part of transforming the education system. Because our hope and your hope should be you get your education, good high school, and then you get into college. You get into college. You need to go to college. Old people like me, you could get away without college. You could still get a job and make a living without college. Your generation, you need college. 50% of the jobs in the next 5 years will require college. Think about that. 50% will require college. And there is no reason why you shouldn't go to college. In my generation, a lot of people couldn't afford it. And if your family didn't have money, didn't matter how hard you worked, didn't matter how well you did, you couldn't get into college. You know what New York State did? First state in the United States? We said, if you can get into college, you're going to go to college, and this state will pay. It doesn't matter the color of your skin, how much money your family has. We will have free college for anyone who can get in. So if you have the grades, you can go to a state college paid by the state. Why do we do this? Number one, because it's smart for the state. We get an educated workforce, and then the businesses want to come here. So the more education you get, the better. But there's a second reason why we do it. And this is a test. Did they tell you there was going to be a test? Oh, yeah, there's a test. There's a second reason why we do it. And it's a simple reason, but it is the most powerful reason to do anything in the world. It is a 4-letter word, and it is the most powerful reason to do anything. And just to make it a little more interesting, the person who guesses the word is going to get this very fancy gold state coin. What is the second reason why we're doing all of this? $35 million for after school, more money for teachers, free college. 4-letter word. Good, you in the back. 4-letter word. Love. You got it. Come down. Come down here. You don't need your phone. Step up here. Yeah. What's your name?
Freddie.
Freddie? What did I just tell you about video devices? Put the phone on. Are you playing on this phone?
Nothing.
Oh, yeah? You sure?
Yeah, sure.
It's about love. You are exactly right. Here's the gold coin. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause to my friend, your Senator, Carl Marcellino.
These days, I walk a little slower than I used to. When I taught school in the city of New York for 20 years, that didn't wear me down, but you replace one hip Just one hip, and it causes you all kinds of problems. Governor, we thank you for coming, and we thank you for this initiative. It's fantastic. It's long overdue. I'm pleased to be able to work with you and your administration and my colleagues in the Assembly and the Senate and local government, newly elected. You got a job to do. And you haven't got a clue yet. Trust me, you haven't got a clue. The first day you'll get the clue. The name of the game is the important services that are provided by our schools. It doesn't only go on in the classroom. It goes on after the classroom. What happens to those youngsters, where they go, providing them with a place to be that's safe, wholesome, where some of their needs, sometimes getting food, sometimes just having a person to talk to, an adult to talk to, sometimes just getting together with some of their colleagues, some of their friends, where they can talk without pressure, without worrying, a place where their parents know they're safe. That's the most important thing, where the parents know they're going to be safe, so that they don't mind the kid and the youngster being there, because they know who's taking care of them, and they know the child will be well taken care of and protected. So the programs like this, your pre-K initiative and others that you've established over the years, Governor Cuomo has proven himself, despite the fact that I happen to think his brother looks better than he does. I mean, just take a look at television. Which one of them is on TV? It's all right. The money you got already. You can't take it back. The name of the game is we have a governor who gives, I can't say damn because it's a bad word, gives a darn. He cares about the youngsters. He cares about the people in the state of New York, all the people of the state of New York. He gets around the state of New York. I've served for 20 plus years in the Senate, and I don't know of a governor who covered as much ground as you have in that period of time. So I congratulate you for that, and I congratulate you for your efforts. But most importantly, I want to congratulate the teachers in this room. The teachers in this room. Because the governor said it before, and he and I both know it, my colleagues all know it. You're doing God's work. You're doing God's work. Keep it up, God bless you, and be safe on your way home.